Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm really glad to be here at the Automechanika 2022. Finally, an offline event to see real people and have a face-to-face conversation about what is going on in the industry. The topic that we were invited to speak about is how software is transforming the car industry. So we all know that the future car is likely to be an electric car. This is a big transformation for the car industry, going from the combustion engine to an electric engine, and all the processes that are related to this, and building up a battery production, and so on. From the user perspective, there is not too much that changes. So the user or the consumer is sitting in the car is driving, and most of the users don't care if there's an electric engine or combustion engine. So of course, there needs to be different software developed now. We need to have a battery management system. There are other solutions that are developed, but all in all, from the Softeq perspective, the innovation and the development is happening in different areas from what we heard from the decision makers. And this is actually the area of connecting the cars, making the vehicle part of a wider network, implementing in the car advanced driver systems up to the autonomous driving cars, and the future of the cars is likely to be also shared. And these are all areas where we see massive investment in the software is needed. So one of the first points is the car is more than just a computer on a wheel. The car is part of a large network of, well, you could consider it as an IoT device basically, and the car is part of that. So the car needs to be connected, it needs to communicate with the driver, with the passengers, with other cars, with the infrastructure, and with service providers, and maybe there are other areas. Every new car nowadays has massive amount of sensors, they have cameras, they have lidars, and all these systems need an advanced communication within the car and need much more software. And this again creates additional possibilities for communicating outside the car. A next point that was mentioned by the decision makers and that we also hear from many users and including our personal experience is that the user experience is following still a very old style approach, and probably it was taken from the hardware development life cycle, where you basically develop, or the development of a car is around 10 years, and you develop it, you certify it, you bring it to the market, and then you forget about it, you work on the next car. Many car manufacturers, OEMs, still seem to follow this same approach. So when you buy the car, the UX might look nice, but after a year, 2, 3, it's already outdated. And there's no really good reason we found why this is actually happening, because we have the possibility to do over-the-air updates. We can update our user interface, at least the ones on the screens. All new cars have large screens in the car that give us a lot possibilities to customize the UI, to update the UI, and to help the user. And another really important point is that the expectations of the drivers has increased over the past, let's say, 25 years massively. Now everyone has a smartphone, a smartwatch. We speak to Alexa, Google, Siri, and all these experiences create a certain expectation. When we go into the car, we want to have the same experience or better, because usually the car is the most expensive gadget that we own, right? Obviously, a very important topic that was mentioned by all of the decision makers and the people we interviewed was advanced driver assistance systems and autonomous driving. So the complexity of these systems has increased massively over the past years. We keep adding sensors and we keep adding features to these systems, and the vision eventually is to have self-driving cars. At least by the most OEMs. And this means basically the car needs to be able to monitor the environment in real time constantly and be able to react in milliseconds. This, of course, requires a lot of information being available, processed properly, and then also having a certain safety layer or very high safety layer. So you be sure when you're sitting in a self-driving car that this car will react properly, and also this car will react properly, for instance, if it lost connection or if it runs into a situation where it doesn't know how to react. And these high safety standards, they're usually quite difficult to achieve and quite expensive and time consuming. And I can say that the traditional OEMs, they are quite good in achieving these standards. However, we should not forget about the points I mentioned before. The user experience requires more agility and a continuous development. It does not necessarily require the high standards in terms of safety, because playing my favorite songs is not a safety critical feature, right? So we can, the smart architecture of the future basically has modules which are safety critical and they're following the standards, and then there are modules which are more for the entertainment purpose, let's say, which are not safety critical, and we can use an agile software development approach. The car is not a computer on a wheel, because if you think about a computer or your smartphone or any other software that we use on a day-to-day basis, usually the life cycle is not very long. We talk about a couple of years for the most part. But for a car, we talk more about decades here. And given the environmental impact the car has, probably in the future the life cycle of the car should even increase. So you need to build a software which is operating reliably over decades, and still considering the points also I mentioned before, the user expects a support, a continuous support of this software. This is what we all know maybe from Apple computers or from Windows computers. By now they have a proper support and you get regular updates. This is what the car industry still has to step up, where they need a lot of people. But beside this, the supply chains have to change because the complexity of the solutions that needs to be built to achieve, for instance, autonomous driving require or doesn't allow us anymore to have isolated solutions. We need to have common shared platforms, open interfaces. We need to have transparency, and we need to have collaboration. And this was actually mentioned to be one of the most risky parts in this transformation that we are currently passing through, where many managers say they are not even sure if their company will survive this, because their mindset is still, well, we want to protect our knowledge, we don't want to share it. And now they have to change it and have to become open, transparent, and share their knowledge. To overcome all these challenges, the companies have to form new strategic partnerships that they can trust and where the partners know the platforms and how to work on them. These partnerships will allow more collaboration to tackle the complexity of the systems and to survive with the new competition, or maybe even to establish yourself as a new company, a new business. Without permanent knowledge transfer and exchange that ideally is technology-driven rather than industry-driven, innovation can no longer be achieved today. I really believe in that statement, as we have seen in the 25 years that we work on the market, that only by collaboration, by deep integration with your partners, with your customers, and by working together in a trustful manner, you can achieve very good results. You can be very innovative and can overcome any challenge. So coming to the end, the conclusion is that to achieve the vision of the future car that is electric, connected, autonomous driving and shared, we should not only think about and have in mind the change from the combustion engine to the electric powertrains, but we should understand that there's a massive change in terms of the software development, and the companies need to massively invest in this. Yeah, thank you very much. We are actually here in the startup area. If you want to sign up for the webinar or download the white paper, please come by. I'm here tomorrow also if you want to have a further conversation on this topic.